You, yes, you. You've heard of HOI4, yes? Pause now if you've never heard of it. Basically, I've decided to make a board game version of HOI4. Allow me to introduce you to...
I'm about to demonstrate to you one average game of HOI4, the board game. Alright, after one full round of everyone's turns, here's what happened. Luxembourgian troops have retreated from mainland Europe to defend a completely empty Great Britain, whilst on the other side of the Atlantic, the American ship meant to ferry troops overseas has been sunk, meaning that the Americans are stuck on the continent for the duration of the game, except for their special bomber, which has flown to Brazil. Meanwhile, on the African continent, the Italian division has been, as usual, wiped out by a combined Anglo-Indian task force, with no casualties. In mainland Europe, things have gotten interesting. The German tank division has smashed into Leningrad, and the infantry division has walked into the strategic fortress of Romania. Russian forces have made a complete withdrawal from Europe, opening to see Japan as a large threat, moving all of their assets into the Soviet Far East. The Japanese and Chinese are back to engage in China, and the Pacific Fleet hasn't moved a damn inch away from Pearl Harbor. Moving on to round 2. Interesting developments have been reached at the end of turn 2. The American bomber has flown from Brazil to Madagascar, and otherwise, the Americans have not moved. The British have mopped up all of Africa from Axis control, and the Luxembourgians have floated into Norway. The Germans walked right into an empty Moscow with their tank division, and the Russians in the Far East got obliterated by the highly better template of the Japanese division. Unfortunately for the Japanese divisions, they were also wiped off the map by the far more numerous and highly skilled Chinese player. The American fleet has anchored at Midway, hoping for the Japanese to come to them. However, the Japanese fleet has positioned itself in the Persian Gulf, shelling the coast of Iraq and Kuwait for an unknown reason. Something I haven't shown you yet is the swag tracker, which moves up and down depending on your nation's total swag, as you can see here. At the end of turn 3, many conclusions have been reached. The American bomber in Madagascar sunk the entire Japanese fleet in the Persian Gulf, but got shot down itself as well. The American army has still not been able to move, and the Luxembourgians have launched a surprise D-Day from Norway into France, liberating Paris. British forces tried to race back to protect Egypt, but rode snake eyes, so they didn't move very much. Unlike the Germans, who captured not only Stalingrad, but Saudi Arabia, Syria, Iraq, Israel, and the Sinai Peninsula. The Chinese, in a sudden strike, declared war on literally the rest of the planet, making vast maneuvers over the Himalayas into India, Vietnam, Korea, and Siberia. The American fleet has set itself off Iwo Jima, but cannot take the island because they have no soldiers, decimating their swag count down to 1, since Iwo Jima is the Holy Land of the Pacific Theater. The game has now ended at the end of the 4th turn. The Luxembourgians have captured Berlin with no resistance, as the German Wehrmacht has been completely wiped out by the Chinese state in Kazakhstan. The Chinese have taken all of Siberia, Moscow, the Middle East, Singapore, now not only Taiwan, but Japan. They made a human bridge to cross the water, as you can see here. The American fleet was sunk by a solo Chinese soldier, who was apparently injected with some sort of merman device, allowing him to plant bombs on the underside of every American hull. The game has not been called for the Axis today, and it has not been called for the Allies, as both of these factions have surrendered to Mao Zedong's China, which curb-stomped the entire Eastern Hemisphere, and soon will capture the west coast of the United States, Berlin, and Africa.
If this board game interests you, you can buy it for the very fair price today of $459.99. However, that number can be lowered by 1% if you order within the next 48 hours. To order, call this number, 505-503-4455. I say again, that's 505-503-4455. Thank you for watching my advertisement. Subscribe immediately if you haven't already, and please have a very good rest of your day, night, evening, or wherever the fuck you live.